policy of the government is to grow the gambling industry, to get more people to gamble and lose money on online casino products. I mean, it's ridiculous public policy.
Decades of disastrous side effects from consumers that have been over-targeted, a vulnerable population.
I had four attempts. 2 of them were with pills.
And all of a sudden I'm like, I need to rob a bank.
This video is brought to you by our generous sponsors, Right Choice Recovery and the Campaign for Fairer Gambling. Check the description of this video for more information about Right Choice's services and for the campaign's mission statement. The consequences of gambling addiction are going to continue to grow more severe if nothing changes about the direction we're headed. You hear stories of drug addicts robbing places or people in order to fuel their addiction, or a couple that's gotten a divorce because one of the partners was hooked on drugs. These situations also happen with gamblers, and we have to understand that to understand the severity of gambling issues in America. Gambling addiction often leads people to commit crimes. In fact, an estimated 50% of people with a gambling disorder have committed a crime to fund their gambling. The NCPG estimates that the annual social cost to taxpayers in America is $14 billion as a result of gambling addiction directly. Of course, these social costs include job losses, bankruptcies, divorces, incarcerations. People have even gone as far as robbing banks to fund their gambling addiction. I spoke with a man named John Schmidt who did exactly that. He committed numerous crimes in order to get gambling money.
In September of 2000, I robbed my first bank home. And then it just got worse and worse and worse. And it ended up being, over the course of 14 months from that September till November of 2001, it was 6 more banks and 4 hotels. When I was younger, I focused a lot on sports betting and horse racing. When I moved down to Atlanta, I think even up until now, they don't have casinos in Atlanta. They don't have sports betting out in Georgia. All they have is scratch-offs and lottery still. And it's been, I think, been around a little over 30 years. Where did I find my gambling fix at? Well, it was through bookies, my dad included, and through poker games that I would have with friends of mine.
Okay, so now we know that he was mainly a sports bettor, but how did his gambling transition from something that he did for fun with his friends into something that he was willing to commit a crime to continue doing?
Long story short, there was a week in October of '96 where we just got our heads beat in. It was a bad weekend. Saturday college football, Sunday NFL. We were down about little over $8,000. Combined between us. We all mutually decided we're gonna let it ride on Monday Night Football, double or nothing. I felt like the bookie was very apprehensive to take the bet because he understood we were just trying to get out of the debt at that point. But he took it, and we lost. And we owed, I think with the VIG on that, we ended up owing like 17 grand. So the girlfriend that I was seeing, her sister, I was also good friends with just because I was dating her sister for a few years. Her sister was a cop in Atlanta, and she happened to work the robbery division at the time of what happened, and I'll get to that in a minute. And she used to always talk about how they couldn't solve a lot of their cases, whether they were like people that robbed a store, maybe burglaries, robbed a bank, whatever. Listening to her tell these stories, it was just fodder at the time. Like, it's just entertainment, right? Ha ha, that's hilarious. Once I found myself in that gambling debt and desperate, all of a sudden, those stories that she told started coming back to me. And I'm thinking to myself, I remember her saying something like 85% of these cases were like unsolved, and what they were saying in banks in order to avoid like getting things like die packs or transmitters or funny money or whatever. And all of a sudden I'm like, I need to rob a bank. Now, at that point, I'm just kind of entertaining myself in my head, right? As time got closer and me feeling more desperate to pay this money back, those thoughts started becoming much more prevalent in my head and more serious. Like the first week of November of 1996, I actually contemplated doing it. I went to whatever grocery store and I bought nylon stockings, a pellet gun, and latex gloves. I went to the liquor store intentionally to drink this Jack Daniels, to get intoxicated enough to go through with this. And I drive, and this bank's about 2 miles up the road north of me from my apartment. And I go up to the bank. I park behind the shopping center. I walk up. I walk across the road by the Circle K. And I remember standing against the wall of the bank, pull the nylon stocking down, and I walk into the bank. And I think there was a few tellers in there at the time. And I walked in and I said, I don't feel like I needed to say it because I already had the pellet gun out and the pantyhose down, but I think I announced that this is a robbery, you know, and I even told them, again, recalling those stories. I said, I don't want any die packs. I don't want transmitters, no funny money, none of that stuff. Because I was told that they have to listen to you or they put themselves or other people in the bank at risk if they don't listen to those demands. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know, but that's what was told to me. They give me all the money and I put it in a duffel bag and I walk out of the bank and then I run to my car. Again, I owed money, but I was also more compelled to do it because I was going to Atlantic City and needed money to gamble there too.
Given your experience, serving time as a result of gambling-motivated crimes, where do you see the future of crime and gambling going as more people begin to gamble and likely get addicted to gambling?
I feel like if you just even went and looked at data, you'd see that there's been an increase in gambling-related crimes. Not necessarily, they consider robbery violent, and I'm not diminishing that at all. I mean, it's a violent crime. But there's also other crimes, embezzlement, check writing, burglaries, theft, things that are financially motivated that could very well be connected to gambling and gambling addiction.
John's story is not a one-off story. People become so hopelessly trapped in their addictions that they don't care what the consequences are. They don't care what happens around them. They just care about placing that next bet because their brains have become rewired to think that the only thing that makes them feel good is making that next bet. People commit crimes regardless of the consequences that it might carry. There's so many people that DM me saying that they can't stop gambling because they've found themselves in a hopeless financial situation and their only way out of it is gambling more. They say they'll quit after they get even or they get a big win to pay off the debt, which of course, as something I told myself many times, I know that's a lie. Gambling debt from $65K down to $6,500, and I could pay it all at once now. There's hope. My gambling addiction started 2017. My first experience at the casino, I took home almost $6K. So I'm like, why work? Just gamble. It's quicker to gain money from here. I'll lose, I'll win, up and down, but overall, I know I had more losses than wins. Forward to 2021, where it really got bad. I was hooked up on online betting. I was so addicted, I even took a personal loan just to gamble, working hard for a week, then blow it all on gambling weekends. So imagine the feeling you're working for free because all my paychecks go straight to gambling. I accumulated more than $65,000 debts across personal loans, credit cards, and friends and families. I opened up to my sister about my loans and she told me she will pay for everything so I could avoid the interest and APRs. I worked so hard to pay my debts and my manager saw how good I am, so I was promoted to be a chef, so my income doubles. So whatever your gambling is from, there is hope. Just hold on to your plan and stick to it. Good luck to all and God bless. Gambling addiction is the only addiction where you could tell yourself that you're gonna stop today and 3 months, 3 years down the road, you could still be dealing with the consequences because you could have accumulated so much debt that it takes so long to pay it off. People have been gambling so much in the United States that the bankruptcy rate is skyrocketing. State bankruptcies are up 28% since 2018 when sports betting started to become legalized in different states. It's gotten so bad that people are actively choosing to spend their money sports betting instead of buying groceries at the grocery store. During my gambling addiction, I was consistently being cheap at the grocery store, but had no worries about placing a $100 sports bet.
$3.99, $3.90. Okay, all right, let's save that. Let me get a 3, 6, 18, 25, red, first, third, second, third, all for $100 each. Green 0, better luck next time.
Bankruptcies are just one of the consequences of a gambling addiction that could happen. Another is divorce. A 2023 study showed that 53.5% of people with pathological gambling addiction would end up getting a divorce if they were married. All the time we hear that one of the leading causes of divorce is financial problems. And with a gambling addiction, if the money's going to a parlay instead of the family mortgage, it's a clear sign that there's something going on, but it's also not gonna make your spouse very happy.
I'm a 75-year-old senior with a 68-year-old wife. And I found a month and a half ago that I was $53,000 in debt on credit cards. I thought I was debt-free for quite a while now. There was money being put against the credit cards from casinos mostly, Right now, I'm lined up to borrow $80,000 at a credit union at 6.625%, 30-year amortization.
Who racked up the credit card bills? Your wife?
Yes, ma'am.
And you didn't know about
I
it?
wasn't smart enough to keep my nose in the books, and I trusted her 100%.
How long have you guys been married?
13 years. It's my second marriage.
Mm-hmm. And so approximately half the time you've been married, she's been lying to you.
Yes.
Because she has a gambling problem.
Yes.
And it takes time to rebuild after a gambling addiction, so many divorces could happen in early recovery due to financial frustration. After someone loses everything that they had, and maybe everything that their partner had as well, you could imagine why divorce might be on the table. And when your life is falling apart, and you're staring at years worth of debt repayment that you have to tackle, it's no surprise that you might feel hopeless. We learned that 1 in 5 gambling addicts will attempt to take their own life during their gambling addiction.
I had four attempts. 2 of them were with pills. One was an antidepressant, one was a back pain medication that I took the whole bottle on each. One was me in a room while I was in the military, waiting to get into trouble and to get disciplined for the gambling I did, clearing a path to a red brick wall. One of the walls in the room was red brick, and literally lowering my head and running as fast as I could head first into the wall as many times as I could. The 4th one was a jump that never happened.
Now, it's often said that gambling addiction in the United States resembles the same trend that played out in the United Kingdom, but about 5 years behind. So we do have a reference point to look towards to see what might happen next to the United States.
The way we've set things up in Britain has been to permit, not just permit, but promote gambling. The policy of the government is to grow the gambling industry, to get more people to gamble and lose money on online casino products. I mean, it's ridiculous public policy.
How many times have we heard in recent years, don't tell me about the UK, I don't care. I'm America, it's not gonna happen. What makes us so different? American exceptionalism can be a wonderful thing, but I'm under no disillusion that there is not a real role and responsibility that we need to learn from others that have come before us.
Yeah.
We aren't different. We are humans. These are the same industry operators abroad. Things aren't going to be different unless we do something different.
If the sports betting happens in the background, great. England and the UK has decades of disastrous side effects from consumers that have been over-targeted, a vulnerable population.
One way that users have been targeted in the UK has been the use of AI to figure out exactly how to hook the players. So how much do the gambling operators really know about their players? Like, how many data points do they have on them?
So they have about 500. That's come out in the recent case that made it to the High Court related to Sky Bet. The judge found in his favour that they were using his data to basically try to get him to gamble more, even though it was clear that he had a gambling addiction. And so they're just using as many data points as they can find on that individual to try to optimise engagement with the platform.
In 2025, the US gambling market is worth over $100 billion. But by 2035, who the hell knows where it'll be? With VR betting, AI-assisted sports picks, and fully immersive gambling metaverses, we could actually see this market explode in size, as it's been growing pretty steadily every single year with the tech advances so far. Apps are already evolving to blur the line between gaming, finance, and gambling. Think fantasy leagues with real money stakes, TikTok-style reels that promote live bets or live slot play, influencers and sports betting cappers pushing daily picks on streams, getting you immersed in real time, and kids using virtual currency that mirrors gambling behavior, like Roblox, or even like CSGO, where you can literally gamble a virtual currency on a crypto casino. This is the reality today. The future of gambling is not just accessible, it's inescapable and inevitable. And I guess the scariest part is that it's being designed that way intentionally. It's psychologically engineered to hook, retain, and monetize users. These apps, these platforms, they're no longer just tools for betting. They are content machines that are engineered to keep you scrolling, wagering, and losing all in one seamless loop. The apps right now share design similarities with the social media platforms that you find yourself doom scrolling on, except a sportsbook doom scroll
might also spell doom for your bank account, in addition to the brain rot that it's giving you. These platforms are built like casinos, but optimized by Silicon Valley. Every notification, every bonus, every offer is calculated to keep you chasing, and they're using AI to know exactly when to shoot you that perfectly designed bonus. You are a product to them, being squeezed for as much value as possible. The line between player and product is already vanishing completely. And with every new advancement in convenience comes a darker truth. The pay in 4 parlay might sound like a joke right now, but when we see Klarna and Affirm gambling loans coming in the next few years, I want you to remember this video. This has gotten to the point that 1 in 5 people with a gambling addiction are attempting to end their own life. Something needs to change. And the sad reality is that it doesn't seem like much is going to change until enough lives are lost, until enough money has been lost, until enough families have been destroyed. If nothing changes about where we're heading, it really is going to be too late for so many gambling addicts out there. Many lives are going to be lost. But hey, the casino's getting rich, right? On an individual level, if you or someone you know is struggling with a gambling addiction, check the description of this video for links to resources that I truly believe could help you. This channel is here to do everything within my power to spread the message that gambling addiction is real, resources are out there. You have to seek them out for yourself at this point, but also that this is a topic that warrants discussion as a major public health issue. We're on the precipice of a crisis. We're about to see the greatest epidemic of addiction the country has ever seen. I do hope to become a part of the solution. Subscribe to become a part of that change that I want to create here on the channel.